This podcast contains paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap podcast, where I discuss how you can grow your business by the bootstraps. This applies to everyone with an entrepreneurial spirit. That includes bootstrappers just starting out, established business owners, and business leaders. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Isaiah O'Connor. So today's sponsor is, again, one of my favorites, and that is audible.com. And at this point, you don't know what Audible is? Well, let me tell you what it is. Audible.com is the world's largest repository of audio information. I would say audiobooks, lectures, podcasts. Oh, there's a lot of information out there on Audible. And it's extremely useful, especially if you're a busy person, if you're a business person like myself, and if you're listening to this podcast, you most likely are. Reading is so incredibly important to the entrepreneur, to the successful leader. I've looked at multiple studies, and they say average leader, average business person, successful person reads something like 12 books a year minimum. It's one a month, if not more. Sometimes it's like one a week. I don't know. It varies, but successful people tend to be readers, people who consume data, books, information. Now, if you're like me, I've got a couple of kids, 3-year-old, nearly 4, 7-year-old. I'm at home with them quite often. I'm trying to run my other company, the balloon decoration company, and market and do all the work there, wear all the hats. Plus, I'm doing the podcast and doing research for the podcast and working on this company as well. I don't have a lot of time during the day. And so what I can do is I can listen to books. I can jump in the car. I can listen to books when I'm driving to my office, when I'm driving to events, when I'm doing anything where I don't need to be using too much brain power to do. I can do it washing dishes, taking a walk, going for a hike, riding my bike. I can listen to books and get good information. And so, in order to, of course, this supports my show, which is great about them. If you go to audible.com/B bootstrap, you can get a free trial. They have 2 different versions. They have a more expensive version, which is $14.95, which is the Audible Premium. I think it's an amazing program. You get 1 book a month, 1 credit for 1 book. You don't have to use it right away. You can save it up if you feel like it. Plus, unlimited listening to a selection of audiobooks and podcasts and other audio information, as well as the books you can download, you keep them forever. You can cancel at any time. You get a 1-month free trial. You get 1 free book. It's amazing. Then they have a less expensive option. I do believe it's $7.95. And you get to listen to everything for free. You just don't get a book to download and keep forever. But go check them out, audible.com/bootstrap. And the book I'm recommending today is called Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey. Now, what that sounds like a kind of weird title. And it's a book about the type of leaders Dave Ramsey likes to hire, which are people that have an entrepreneurial spirit and leadership abilities. His versions of leaders, the ones he wants the most of, are people with an entrepreneur heart and strong leadership. And so he coined the term entree leadership. And it's a great book. It's really helped build my business, helped lay the foundation for my business. It's about how he grew his business from a card table in the living room to over 500 employees, and the steps he took, and how to lead, how to hire, how to fire, how to just grow your company. And a lot of tools and a lot of information really helped me grow and build and learn about business and business finance and growing my business and marketing and everything else. Really great book. Highly recommended. And matter of fact, again, you can go get that for a free trial. You get the book for free. You keep it forever. You can listen to it over and over again. All you have to do is go to audible.com/bootstrap, capital B. And if you're about to hire, you can go do that and listen to this chapter on hiring, because I'm going to talk about hiring right now. So eventually, if you're a bootstrapper, most likely, most bootstrappers I know, they start up and it's a one-man operation, or maybe one man, their wife, and their kids are dragged kicking and screaming into it to help out when need be. Personally, I've even dragged in my brother-in-law and sister-in-law to help once in a while. So yeah, sometimes you need help doing your jobs to keep up with the orders, keep up with the pace, etc. Not always, but sometimes. And eventually, hopefully, you will need to have somebody that you hire to help you do your work. Now, what are some reasons to hire somebody? Now, there's a few good reasons, and again, you can go Google and look up a whole bunch of stuff. But first of all, is very important, which is time off. Now, I learned this from my dad growing up. My dad ran his own janitorial service, and he did all the cleaning himself. He had me and my brother sometimes help. My other brothers were too young at the time, and he worked his ever loving tail clean off. He worked very, very hard, but the problem was he had no employees. He had one employee for a while at one point in time, which helped out. But for the majority of the time, as far as I can remember, he was doing it alone, which meant he worked around 360 some odd days a year, 365 days a year. He worked all the time. He worked really, really hard. He rarely was able to take days off. He never had sick days. If he was sick, he had to work. It didn't matter. He had to go clean up the mess. He had to go out and clean those bathrooms, clean those apartments, clean those buildings every single time, because he had no one to go out and do it. And vacation, forget about a vacation. He could never take a vacation because he was always having to work. Now, yeah, maybe he worked, not quite 365 days a year, but it sure seemed like it. He was always, always working. And of course, he tried to take a few days off a week, etc. Try to, but again, a lot of it depended on him. The whole burden was on him. So yeah, if he was able to have a trained employee that could take some of that burden off, it would have been very helpful to him. And flash forward to me running my own business, and I haven't had that much business to where I've had something going every single day. But there's been a couple of times where I've actually hired outside third party contractors to do jobs because either A, I was otherwise occupied, or B, I needed a day off for something very important, like my kid's birthday, my birthday, my anniversary, little days like this, nothing important, where I've had days off and had clients call and want customers or want service. I've hired third party people to go and do it. I hire another person to go and be a clown for the day, or set balloons, etc. Don't really like doing that if I can avoid it, but I've done it. Hired a third party, hired the competition even, to go and do work. So yeah, if you're needing to get some time off, get a break, be able to take a sick day, be able to go on vacation, you need an employee that can do the work that needs to be done, at least the bare minimum, before you can do that. So that's a good reason to have an employee. And related with that is it helps you grow. You need employees to grow. You can serve more customers. One thing about doing a job such as being a clown making balloon animals, you can't really do more than one job at the time. If you have two events on the same day at the same time, you have to pick between the two. You can't do both because you have to physically be there all day long. Now I've gotten two events at the same time making balloon decor, and I was able to split it up and go do one job early and one a little bit later. And then actually, I got three jobs in one day. I managed to cram them all into one day, rather stressfully, but I was able to do it and work things around. But because once I make the decor, I don't have to physically be there. But if I'm doing balloon animals, I have to be there. I can't just clone myself and make balloon animals. So having more employees and having someone trained in that, I can service more customers at the same time, which also takes stress off. And when you're less stressed and you have more people, you can provide better service. Matter of fact, I've had a few jobs where I've had two balloon twisters, balloon clowns at the job, and we were able to service more kids quicker. The line was shorter, the kids were happier, the adults were happier, and we were able to provide better service. This can also free up time to do other work that needs to be done. You can have a person go out and, again, balloons, make balloons and do a balloon service, balloon animals, whatever, while you do something like your accounting and or start working on your marketing plan or etc., where you're doing other stuff that needs to be done that you don't have time to do because you've been doing the actual work. So you can hire someone, train them, and have them go do the work. So that's also a very important reason to hire, which I found is very helpful in my case. So then, of course, you can increase the amount of places you market to, your marketing range, as it were. The more employees you have, the more customers you can reach in a larger area, which is great, which is why I've talked about growth before, precision growth, where people were, the more places people could hire and grow and open more stores, etc., the more reach they can reach, the quicker they can grow. You need people to do that. And then, of course, if you need somebody to that's better than you at something like marketing or sales, you bring on them on board to help you grow because they'll be better at it. And that leads into, of course, the very obvious reason to hire, which is needed skill sets. Of course, you need somebody with specific skill sets that you hire. For example, you need a good sales team, a marketing team. Perhaps you work in a building firm and you need somebody to weld because you can't weld. You need to bring in somebody who can do electricity or whatever. You need a specific talent. You need to hire a web designer. You want to bring it one in-house versus going outside, etc. Whatever. There's sometimes you need a needed skill set on a person to do that, to come in and do the job that you require. So these are some really good reasons to hire somebody, and you need to hire people. Of course, when you hire people, you're helping them out, you're helping them feed their families, you're providing more value for your customers, you're providing value for other people, you're taking care of yourself, your family, your sanity. And of course, another thing is the more people that you hire, it's easier to make money. Yeah, I know it's not, again, I'm going to talk about greed and whatnot later, but when you hire somebody, they need to make you more money than they cost you. And if they're making you more money than they cost you, then it will help you reach your financial goals as well. Oh, and there's one more actually in that, which is if you are planning to sell your business or harvest the business, I think is the technical term, I can't remember, eventually, then you need a good team of people that can run the business for the next person. Now, I've looked at selling my business before, but because the business has been me and I'm the one who does all the balloons, I'm the one who does all the designs, I'm the one who does all the work, and I'm the one with all the connections with customers, it's really hard to get people to want to buy my business because right now I am the business. All the information is in my head. all how to build the balloons. Now, sure, I can train somebody to do what I do, and when I came up with a plan to try to sell my business at some point, it was built on the prospect of me. Part of the sell would be me training somebody to do the jobs so they could have it, and they were basically getting the equipment and the training from me personally. But it made it really difficult to try to sell the business, and I eventually wound up not being able to sell the business as planned. But I would eventually like to sell my business, and in order to do that, I need to have a good team of people that are working and know how to run the business and know how to do the jobs and work really hard and be very trustworthy and effective. Because if I sell the business, then the person can come in, and I want it to be turnkey, which means somebody can buy the business even as an investment, and the business basically runs itself. And all I need is the key to open the door and walk in and take it over. Turnkey, easy, and you can't do that unless you have employees are well trained and able to run your business. So, yeah, if you want to sell your business, that's another good reason to hire people, because without you, if you're in a business, especially if you're in a creative business, you are the business and you can't really sell it because it's you and you kind of involved, and it gets a little tricky and it's hard to do. So that's why you need employees. And again, another thing is the more employees you have, the easier it is to provide income for you and your family, because every little bit helps. Some people I've talked to, like, why do you want to hire people? I mean, if you hire somebody and they do a job, then you make less money per job because you have to pay them part of their salary out of the money you would normally make if you did the job yourself. I've heard people say that, like, if you why do you want to hire people? You'll make less money because now you have employees to pay, and you have to pay their vacation, and you have to pay all these little things, their pension fund or whatever. You have to pay them money, and then they go out and they do a job, and then you don't get all the money from the job, and you're making less money. And yeah, it would seem so upfront. The beauty of having an employee, or and the more the better, is it allows you to do something that the author of the book 48 Days to the Work You Love, another great book, by the way, by Dan Miller, he says this. He has something that he likes to have, which he calls Swiss dollars, sales while sleeping dollars. And he does that with books, where he has his book, and he wakes up and he goes and checks, and he's made a whole bunch of money in sales while he was asleep. Now, you may need to be awake to run your employees, but when you have employees, you those times off, those days off, they're making you money while you're resting. You're making money while you're on vacation. You're making money while you're sick. You're making money while you're off making other money. It's increasing your ability to make money. The more employees you have, the more busy you keep them, the more money you make, even though you're managing it, because they're doing more work than you can. It's increasing the power and effort you put into it. It's like adding leverage. It's a tool, it's a machine. It's adding more power for you to grow your business and make a bigger income. So, in reality, yeah, employees can be costly, depending, of course, on your pay plan, the way you pay them, how you hire them, how often they work, all that good stuff. You have to balance it out. And that'll be the next part of this, where I talk about pay plans and the hiring process. There's going to be the other two parts: how to hire, and then also how do you pay people. But if you set it up correctly and you pay the employees correctly, and they earn you more than they cost you, you just increase your power and ability to earn money and grow and take care of not just them but your family, because every employee you have, they earn you a little bit more money, And that all adds up and builds up to the point where you can actually almost even retire and have them working and still earn an income. It becomes pure sales while sleeping. I mean, how many people, owners, building a business, finally get a good management team to run the company, and they're still earning money off of their company, and it goes from being a business they run to a business they have invested in, and then your business can become an investment and not just something you run. And you can be more or less involved, but you can turn your business, it is an investment, but not just an investment that's labor intensive time and money, but to an actual investment where you can sit back and relax and actually earn money from your business operating. That's where employees get you. And not only that, you done right, your heart in the right spot, again, providing value, taking care of people. As I always say, if you can get your business to the point where it's self-sustaining and you don't need to be there, and being there is optional, well, not only are you okay now because you're financially great, but you've now provided a lot of jobs and a lot of people with incomes, and you're helping people out, and you're providing them with a place to go to work and a place to go earn an income and a way to take care of themselves and families. So that's kind of the end goal. Again, I always talk about the end goal of business is to take care of people, to create jobs, to create opportunity, to help other people feed themselves, feed their family. That's, again, the end goal. And that's why when it comes to hiring, don't look at it as, oh, great, I got to hire somebody now, I have to share my profits. Oh, no, it's going to cost me money. I've had bosses like that treat me like that. And it's not fun. It's not fun as being a burden. No, you're just another cost I have to manage. No, done right, hiring well, paying well, taking care of your employees, making them loyal because you take good care of them, you treat them right, you treat them nice, this is also going to be part of the leadership thing, but I figured I'd do the hiring as a separate little deal. But if you take great care of your employees, then eventually they'll take great care of you, and you'll be able to look at employees as an asset, as something that helps you out, and as something that can provide you with a way to relax and actually take stress off. Not always the case. Employees can drive you crazy. I've been a manager. I've had employees. Employees can be good. Employees can be bad. Of course, there's always challenges. But yeah, you definitely should hire. You should be expecting to hire eventually. And not a lot of people do. Matter of fact, I know a lot of businesses that don't hire. A lot of balloon businesses, I would say the vast majority are a grand total of two. And out of that two, it's usually like the man and his wife, or the guy and his kid, or even I know one guy where it's him and his mom. And yeah, they don't get a lot of breaks. They don't get a lot of time off. They are not spreading out the resources and growing, and it holds them back. So yeah, hiring is an important thing. You should really consider hiring, even if what you're doing is more of an artistic side or a content creation side. You can look into ways to hire and bring on talent that will help you grow and give you breaks, etc. There are ways to do it. You just got to look into it. Very important. Look to hire people. It can help your business. You can grow. Now, maybe you're just a podcaster and you're just doing a video streaming or whatever. But even then, you can still hire. Matter of fact, the king of random, Grant Thompson, he built his channel on his personality, but he hired people and he brought in other people that could run his show, and he built it to a fully self-sustaining channel on YouTube. Then when he unfortunately died an untimely death as a young man, I have a whole early podcast episode dedicated to him. He was able to leave behind a legacy that took care of his family because it was self-sustaining. And that's one more thing I didn't even think of until just now, which is this. If you hire people and you can get your business running so that it's self-sustaining and you have a family to take care of and something happens to you, if it's self-sustaining, your family can be taken care of for the rest of their lives. And that is important and amazing for those who can pull that off. Just another thing that's great. And another thing it can do along those lines is if you get disabled, if something happens to you and you can no longer work, not just dead, just hurt or disabled, or something happens and you get sick, if you don't have any employees, if you have no one else that can do the job, well, you will just have to sell your business, sell the parts, sell the pieces, maybe not even be able to sell the business, but sell everything in your business, all your equipment, shut down, and hopefully you've had some sort of retirement savings because that's all you're going to have to live off of. And I've seen that over and over again, and I talk about it when I talk about legacy. And I see that all the time where I see someone say, "Oh, I'm selling all my stuff. Oh, I'm selling all my balloons, all my equipment, all my kit. I have to retire. I got carpal tunnel. I can't do this anymore. I have to find a different job. I don't know what I'm going to do." And it's really, really sad because they've been doing it alone. And some of these guys have done it alone for 10, 20, 30 years alone. And when they can no longer work, then they're in trouble. And it's really sad. So, yeah, hiring people is important. Consider hiring people. Even if you're an independent type of guy and you really don't want to hire people, you're kind of afraid of learning the payroll taxes and all that government nonsense, it's still worth hiring. When you can hire, it can provide a lot more for you and than you might expect. And you provide, of course, for other people. You can help them with extra money for college, with providing for the families. It's a win-win thing when you hire for the right reasons and when you hire the right people. And I'll be talking about hiring the right people in the next episode. So go ahead and look forward to that. And again, in that book, Entree Leadership, which you can get on audible.com/B bootstrap for free. It's an amazing book, and they talk about hiring and the hiring process they use. And it's a great book. And one of the ways I've learned to hire is from that book. It's amazing. Go check it out. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Talk to you next time about hiring, the process. How do you hire? You have a great day. Bye-bye. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you'd like to support us directly, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts with your friends as well. If you'd like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join us over at our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, an Atheoz Business Solutions podcast. For a companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, which is hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes and related blogs, please check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is at www.atheoz.com or theoz.com. Until next time, I have been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.